So today we are going to talk about what we read during our reading rush. Oh wait, that's alright. I want to say singly, then I realized it's a different video. Okay, again. Hello everyone, I'm Jenna.
I'm Grace.
And in this video, we're going to talk about the books that we read during the reading rush. The reading rush is actually a book. So the reading rush is a week where book lovers actually come together and we try to read as many books as possible, preferably one a day for the entire week, so that totals up to 7 books a week. This reading rush week takes place in a specific week in July, and also there are several guiding descriptions as to how we should select our books. So for us, I have personally fulfilled 3 out of 7 of this criteria in a sense, with 2 books.
I fulfilled about 5 criteria with like 3 books, although I cheated on one of the books lah.
Oh, in what sense?
I started one of the book like months ago and then I paused it because like I just didn't feel like reading it at that point in time anymore. Okay, let's get to it.
Okay, so the first book that I've read fulfilled 2 of these descriptions. The book that I read was The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. The book fulfilled the criteria of I'm supposed to read a book that begins with the word "the." So The Vanishing Half, so 1 tick there. And the second description it fulfilled would be read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. I'm born in the 2nd month of February. The birthstone color is purple/violet, and the The Vanishing Half cover actually has like purple tones in there. Okay, so what is The Vanishing Half about? It's actually a book about twin sisters who live in a southern black town called Mallet. What happens is that they grew up, and one day at 16 years old, they decided to flee the town. Okay, because to them the town was suffocating, the place was too small, they wanted to just get out of it. The book actually talks about what happens after they flee. One of the twins actually disappeared. Yeah, like she left one of her other twin sister to go and search for her own life to lead her own life. And the other twin sister actually, after many years later, returned to this town of Mallet, where she stayed on forever. And the other sister, who is called Stella, in order to get more opportunities, she passes off as white. And the thing is that her family doesn't know. So her husband doesn't know. Her daughter doesn't know that she's actually not entirely white. And so this whole story is about how Stella goes through her life with all these lies surrounding her and her relationship. I love it. Like, it's 300 over pages, but I just couldn't get enough of it. I just wanted to see like what carries on after the book is done. It's like a bit going to a massage parlor. No matter how long your session is, it's just never enough. Okay. Like, you just want more. Yeah, so that was how I felt when I read the book. Yeah, if you're looking for a book that talks about loneliness, identity, family, relationships, lies, and things that hold a person together, then I think this is the book that you should go for. Yeah, okay, moving on.
Interesting.
Your turn.
The first book that I read is My Life in France. It's by Julia Child. And I think it fulfills number 1, which is read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone, which is white, because I'm born in June. As well as read a book that inspired a movie you've already seen. It inspires, it inspired a film that's already currently showing in Netflix called Julie and Julia.
So the title is not My Life in France on Netflix?
No.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The book title is My Life in France, but the movie title is Julie and Julia.
Okay.
The movie itself is a 2009 film. Basically shows how this jaded girl called Julie, she wants to try like this 500-ish recipes of Julia's cookbook in 365 days and blogs about them. So My Life in France, I don't particularly love it, but I enjoyed reading it, if you get what I mean. Because I don't really care much about cooking.
Oh,
in a way.
okay.
And yet, you can feel Julia's passion in cooking, specifically French cuisine. Yeah, in the book. How she went to France was because of her husband's posting as a government official.
So she's not French?
She's not French, she's
Okay.
American.
Ah, okay.
On their very first day there, her husband took her to this French restaurant in Paris, and it was this like meal that opened up Julia's senses and mind about French cuisine and how spectacular it actually can be. So that's where she just found her calling, I guess, and she deep delved into French cuisine. In a way, I feel like I'm glad that I watched the film first before I read the book.
Oh, that's quite rare, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think in the film they really portrayed Julia's personality really well. Like she's this very bubbly, eccentric, tall woman, American woman coming to France, not knowing anything. Yeah, but like very open to trying out new stuff, yet also have her insecurities. So when I read the book, I could really read it in Julia's voice.
Like you could picture her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Okay, next. Okay, so the second book that I read during the reading rush week was actually a Hank Green novel, which is called An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. Fact check a bit, huh? Yes, by Hank Green. Yeah. So one of the description is that we're supposed to read a book that takes place in a continent different from where you live. We both live in Singapore, and that's in Asia. Yeah, and this book takes place in South America, specifically the United States of America. This book is so bizarre, it's so weird, but yet so real at the same time. So if I were to link it to something that we can all relate to, it's probably like Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the elements are fake. You know it's fake. You know that the ghosts are just scare actors. Nothing is really real there. Everything is just a setup. But yet, what you feel is so real. Okay, so basically, one day after her work, this protagonist, April May, she goes home at about 2-3 a.m. and she saw this giant statue at the sidewalk. If you can picture like Transformer, like a bumblebee Transformer, just super huge, just there. Yeah, so she calls up her best friend Andy, and she said like, dude, you have to come and see this. So Andy come over and they actually videoed this giant statue which they called Carl. Okay, Carl.
Oh,
Yeah,
Carl.
Carl.
I heard cow.
No, Carl. Okay. So later did they know that after they published that video on YouTube, right, that actually Carl appeared all over the world. As we go on to this book, we realize that like no one really knows where he or she or it came from. Like it exhibits properties that are not scientifically possible, and so that makes the book all the more stranger lah.
So what does the statue do?
The statue doesn't do anything. It's just there, and so that's the whole premise of the story, is that they are trying to figure out what does it want. What does it want from the human race? Why is it here? And so they're just trying to piece everything together. So for April May's camp, right, of people, they are actually very supportive of Carl. They think that they are there to teach the human race to come together to solve like this mystery, right? But there's also the other camp of people who are super against Carl because they are considered the other. They don't know what it is, and so they are super afraid of it.
Right.
Yeah, so I thought that put into this real world context is actually really applicable, because we kind of always fear what we don't know.
So was the mystery solved in the end?
No.
Huh?
Yeah. So the ending made me so angry because I saw on my Kindle 99% I'm into the book, but yet
You're nowhere near solving the
yeah,
mystery.
correct. But then the second book is already out, so I'm not too worried about having to wait another year before I finally know what happened.
How many sittings did it take for you to
Finish this book? 2. Yeah, I read it in 2 sittings.
That's quite fast.
Yeah, I wouldn't think I'll be into this kind of weird books, but it turns out I am.
I mean, it's highly raved, right, this book?
It's quite highly reviewed. I heard the second book is even better. So yeah.
Have you started?
No, I've not. That will be my August to be read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Soon then.
Soon, yes.
My next book is actually a physical book. It's called The Heartsick Diaspora and Other Stories by Elaine Chew. I guess this is considered under Sing Lit, and the description that this fulfilled is read a book that starts with the word the, and read a book in a genre you've always wanted to read more of. Yes. So yeah, this is my first venture into Sing Lit. I don't know why it took me so long to actually start reading a book under Sing Lit. So basically, this book is made up of 14 short stories written over a 10-year span. It took me a while to get into this book, particularly because I'm not a big fan of short stories.
Right.
The issue I have with short stories is that just when I'm about to get used to a certain character, the story just ends.
Boom.
Yeah. Also because short stories have multiple characters.
Yes.
Yeah, throughout the entire book, right? There are just too many.
Too hard to keep track. We need an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Story
exactly.
1. Story 2.
But what I like most about this book, however, is the sequence of the stories that the book is being arranged into. The central theme of the Heartsick Diaspora, I would think that it surrounds identity and the concept of home, or more specifically like the sense of belonging. They use aspects like food and language, specifically Singlish in this case, to further emphasize the Singaporeanness of like an individual. I think my favorite short story in this book would be the story about this multi-ethnic ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah, so it's a ghost story, and it's about this boy who can see ghosts.
Okay.
He always burns stuff or give what the ghost want based on what this type of ghost is. So if it's a Malay ghost, then like he will do certain stuff that's different from say like a Chinese ghost. But then the issue comes in when this ghost doesn't even know what kind of ghost she is. That probably encapsulates the entire theme of the book, which is about identity and like segmentation of like your different identities. It's actually quite a confusing book.
Confusing book. Because of the characters,
Yeah.
is it?
Yes, and like the stories end sometimes quite abruptly.
Okay.
Yeah, although I would think that it's deliberate.
So will you venture more into Sing Lit after this?
I think I would try more. But what I realized is I don't really like the use of colloquial language in the books.
In the books.
It disrupts my reading pace for some weird reason. I don't know why.
Because I've read books that uses like Singlish, and I actually quite like it.
Oh,
I think that it makes it easier to read.
because you like straight away get where this person is coming
Yeah,
from.
and I get the tone.
Yes.
You know, when someone
exactly.
says la, there's so many different kinds of meaning to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
Two
that's
types of
interesting.
people.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last book is Americanah. It's the book that I cheated. I was basically about 70% through it before Reading Rush started. When Reading Rush started, I just kind of binge through the rest of the book. So the description that Americanah fulfills is read a book that takes place in a continent different from where you live in. So yeah, like Jenna mentioned, we both live in Asia, right? Like the continent. And this book takes place in both North America and Africa. Yeah.
Two continents.
Two continents, that's right. I would describe it as a romance novel with race as the central theme. The author follows these two protagonists called Ifemelu and Obinzi. They are high school sweethearts. Yeah.
Oh man.
So they met in high school, but then when it comes to university, that's where they parted. So Ifemelu went to US to pursue like a US education, while Obinzi somehow landed himself in a very dangerous life as an illegal immigrant in London.
Oh.
So now Europe also come in place.
3 continents.
Three
then.
continents. For the most part, Obinzi and Ifemelu are apart. Yeah, and the book mainly talks about their stories from their different perspectives. It's a thick book also, apparently. That's why it took me a while.
Yeah. It's like we read on the Kindle, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
We just see like 20%.
But I'm always at 20%.
It takes so hard to go to 21%.
Yeah, that's when you know that the book is
Yeah.
long. She talks about race, but more specifically, she talks about the intricacies of race. So like the Nigerian mode of speech. Right from the first scene, she talks about hair, the African hair. and why people like Beyonce, Michelle Obama conceal the African hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like maybe ironing it out and having straight hair is a way of fitting into America's society.
Right.
And she described the whole scene, even at a hairdresser, the whole scene of how it feels like the humidity in Nigeria is different from that in America, and how the word fat itself has a different meaning in Nigeria and like in America.
Okay.
Yeah, I would recommend this book to anyone who actually just is interested in the topic of race and wants to learn more about it, because I certainly don't think that it's a book that only talks about being black or what being black means. It even talks about like just race in itself and the systemic limitations and discriminations in place that sometimes like we are very much blinded by. It sounds like a heavy book, but it's a book that I would return to when
Just
like
to
you
get
need a reality check.
Different perspectives. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
5 stars.
5 stars. In total, we read 5 books.
Combined.
Yeah.
How does your experience in the reading rush feel like?
To be very honest, I didn't like it.
Why?
I just don't like the idea of, oh my goodness, like I'm supposed to read 7. I've only read 2. I just like didn't like that feeling of it. And I also thought that having to fit my to be read piles into fitting the descriptions just just didn't feel right for me lah, because I read according to my mood. When I'm feeling like I want something more romancy or something more mystery, I'm not able to do that with this because I've already set my books. When I'm about to embark on my second book, which was the Vanishing Half, I was a bit like, do I really want to start on this book? Because after reading Hank Green, I was so ready to dive into his second book.
Right.
But I couldn't, because if I did that, I wouldn't be able to even finish my second book of the reading rush.
If you went into the Hank Green book, it wouldn't be reading rush, it would be like Hank
Green rush. Yeah. And then this video wouldn't happen. Only Grace would be talking.
No, we'll still talk about it, but we'll talk about how you completely digress.
I just think that as someone who reads according to her mood, this challenge isn't really for me.
I actually had 4 books on my TBR, but I just completely ditched the last one because I really wasn't feeling it.
Right.
I was supposed to read On the Road. It's a travel log, and it's also a classic that's written in 1954. Apparently.
Ooh.
And classics is indeed like one of the genre that I wanted to get into it. So I think after reading the Heartsick Diaspora, I just didn't feel it. I wanted something with a lot more storyline and a lot more like excitement. Rather than say like a travel log, which may provide excitement as well, but it's a different sort of excitement I would anticipate.
The book that you read previously will also kind of determine what kind of mood you're going for.
I really found myself like squeezing in time to read as whenever I could.
This is where we depart.
Yeah.
I know that I have to wake up early, but my body says no, and I listen to my body, so it was no.
It's okay, you do you.
Yeah. And also because we're like constantly texting each other like, hey, how many you finish? Like, I'm finishing. Oh my goodness, it's only Thursday, we're not done. You know, it's that kind of stress. Like we normally wouldn't text each other like that to update on our reading progress. It's more true. Like, oh, we're done with it.
That sums up
our reading rush. Our first reading rush experience. It's good to see the book community coming together and sharing about what they're reading.
Yeah, exactly.
But to each his own law. To me, once a year is enough.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's all from us.
bye-bye.
Bye.